This is vlog number 9. I'm going to be talking about chapter 6 and then some essays in reading pop culture. So chapter 6 discusses themes in organizing ideas and structuring like your essay. The first is to have a strong thesis or a strong claim. The second is to have an outline to help you organize and structure your essay correctly and effectively. The third is to use a pattern in which you need attention, need, satisfaction, and visual attraction or action. Components to a structural rhetorical essay include an intro, which should be intriguing and it should cultivate your reader and want them to read more and learn more about what you're talking about. The second is to have a conclusion, and this is to tie up loose ends and then restate your thesis and kind of relate them back to the main idea and what your main point is. There are two reasoning to use in an essay. There's deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is stating kind of general ideas and then transitioning into your conclusion. And inductive reasoning is stating facts and then relating that back to your conclusion and getting into that. So in reading pop culture, there were 4 essays. There was The Imagination of Disaster, Hollywood's Love Affair with Surveillance, Has Hollywood Murdered Movies, and 7 Steps to the Perfect Story. So Has Hollywood Murdered Movies is about how Hollywood movies now are more geared towards young men. And because of that, women and groups that aren't young men are now going to online streaming and TV shows because they can't relate to it. They just don't connect with these movies. And I thought that was interesting because I never really realized that. And then in 7 Steps to a Perfect Story, it pretty much lists out the ways that you can implement, or these steps you can implement to make a good story. The first is to understand your story, so kind of just realize what you want your story to be and understanding that completely. The second is to choose a plot. I mean, there's a lot of different plots out there, so you just gotta go with one. 3 is to choose a hero or your good guy or the likable guy or girl. 4th is to choose your characters, kind of plan those out and plan the character development. 5 is rule of 3, and that is the rule that there are going to be 3 main characters. This is relating to a love story. There's always 3 main characters. 6 is to choose your media. So what media outlet do you want this to be in, and what kind of media do you use for advertising it, that kind of thing. And then 7 is to observe what you're doing and observe how the process is going. Hollywood's Love Affair of Surveillance is about how government uses movies to kind of influence people and influence society in their thinking of how they think about technology. So an example they used or they talked about is how when there's a movie about a military or there's military technologies, it's always free because it can influence people's opinions on it, and that helps the government out. And then how people viewed and then the next one is Imagination of a Disaster. This was more about sci-fi and how it's becoming really popular, but how it's kind of becoming a horror kind of theme, and there's a lot of movies about disaster that are becoming popular in society nowadays, which I thought was pretty interesting. But yeah.